What's up everyone, it's Frank from 5 AM Ramen and today I'm going to Tsukuba. Tsukuba is in Ibaraki prefecture, about an hour north of Tokyo, and they're actually known for being a science city. The Japanese government developed it around the 60s, but of course I'm going there today for ramen.
In short, Tsukuba has some of the best ramen in the country. The scene is fiercely competitive and I'm excited to pull back the Tsukuba ramen curtain for you. I'm hitting up multiple ramen shops today, and this is my first ramen trip in a long time. What are we waiting for? For those of you new here, I'm Frank and I grew up on ramen in Tokyo. 5 AM Ramen is your go-to ramen resource, with the latest in ramen directly from Japan. Tsukuba is about an hour away on the train, on the Tsukuba Express, our ramen line for today. And I've just arrived in Tsukuba.
So I'm here in Tsukuba now, and it's actually really quiet, got a beautiful park, on my way to the first ramen shop, which is called Niboshi Chuka Soba Ichikawa. It's actually the highest ranked ramen shop here in Tsukuba, and also one of the top ranked in the country. Super high score on ramen database, for example, 99%, insane. They do a Niboshi ramen, pure Niboshi. Niboshi, for those of you that don't know, is dried sardines, so I'm expecting a pretty intense bowl of Niboshi ramen. This place opens at 11:30 and I'm gonna be arriving there around 11. Expect to see a little bit of a lineup already, given how high profile this place is. Really excited.
We have arrived. I'm getting in line and it looks like I'm number 15, so I'll likely be part of the second group to be seated. And we are moving. They just opened up the shutters too. So close I can smell the Niboshi. And I'm in. So you basically have two Niboshi ramen choices, shoyu or shiro shoyu. I'll give my full thoughts once we're out of the ramen shop. And here's a few comments from me while I'm eating the shoyu bowl with a quieter library voice.
Okay, diving straight in. Very thin, straight noodles. With a really nice bite to them. If we go back to the broth here, deep and salty shoyu niboshi flavor. It's really good. Well, I'd say very well balanced. And all the onions here kind of, cut through that broth a little bit. Delicious bowl and very generous with the noodles. This is the number 5 ranked ramen restaurant in Japan, so expectations were high and it was delicious. This style of Niboshi ramen, it's intense. It's relatively thick. You definitely get a lot of that bitterness from the Niboshi or dried sardines. The regular shoyu, it's salty, strong flavor. For the shiro shoyu or the lighter shoyu, you could taste more of that Niboshi bitterness at the very end. Whereas I think with the regular shoyu, it was a little bit smoother in flavor. You definitely got a lot of that bitterness, but you didn't have it punching as hard as in the shiro shoyu. The chashu was excellent, supremely fatty, that pork belly just melts in your mouth, and it wasn't strongly seasoned. And what that did was allow it to really soak up that Niboshi broth. Excellent, excellent noodles that are made in-house. And a common system there is to get kaidama at the end. Kaidama is a second helping of noodles. I think everyone around me was ordering kaidama, but I've got more ramen to eat, so I'm gonna be skipping today. And one last thing, I sound like Columbo. With some of the super high-level ramen shops in Tokyo or in Japan, you sometimes have shop staff that really want to just hey, we don't have time to chit-chat. We got to get through this. We've got a long line out the door, kind of eat and go. And of course, you had that here, but the lady was super friendly. It just slows down the pace a little bit. You don't feel as much pressure to be like, oh my God, I got to eat this immediately. Don't get me wrong, I still ate it in 10 minutes, but it just makes the experience that much more memorable. And because of that, this is a place I might come back again. Looking forward to round 2. Going to be visiting a miso ramen restaurant.
But at this point, I made a game time decision.
Decided to do a little detour. There's another high-level ramen shop that I bookmarked, and I'm going to be going there before the miso ramen shops. Also, because a lot of these places, they actually close for lunch at around 2:30, so I'm going to do as quick as I can, a ramen run, and then make it to the miso ramen shop right after this one.
Here we are. Shichifukuken has a big menu. I opted for their most popular ramen, which is a rich chicken ramen and also the spicy Tantanmen. Here's me eating the spicy Tantanmen.
Of course, with minced pork, a good layer of Ryu chili oil, and fairly thick noodles. I'm gonna start with the soup here. That's nice. There's a lot of crunch coming from onions here. They've also got a big hosaki menma, or bamboo shoot. The soup itself is very well balanced. It's got a nice creaminess alongside that Ryu chili oil, and a bit on the sweeter side. And a little sesame bits floating about in the broth as well. And very meaty with all that minced pork. Now the noodles are quite hefty. I am in trouble, I think, for today. Great Tantanmen.
Getting pretty hot out, so it's nice to take a little break in the shade here before the miso ramen bowl. So here are my overall thoughts on Shichifukuken. I ordered 2 bowls. Both of them were chicken based. The chicken is meant to shine there, and it's a creamy chicken broth that they are known for. So in the first bowl, it was certainly creamy, heavy, and what made it even more creamy, but in a different way, was the green stick of butter that they had in there. It actually went very well with the broth overall, very modern sort of touch. And now with the second bowl, the Tantanmen, it was spicy but not insanely spicy. A nice amount of chili oil alongside that rich chicken creaminess, and also that they used onions. Onions compared to Ichikawa were a little bit more diced style, kind of breaking up the creaminess in that broth at the same time. Excellent bowls overall. I'm glad I did a pit stop, even though, yeah, I've got to redo the route a little bit, but it was well worth it. I don't think I'm going to be able to clear all of the Ibaraki, or I should say Tsukuba, ramen shops in one day. There are just too many high-level shops, but glad that I stopped by this place. On to the next place for miso ramen.
I'm making my way there by foot, doing a lot of walking to burn off those ramen calories. It's clear when you're walking around that Tsukuba is a very planned city, a scientific research-powered suburb. But there's a lot of open space and plenty of greenery, which is a nice change up from Tokyo.
All right, I've arrived. Ramen shop number 3. And this place is called Meya Aoi, and it's known for creamy, thick miso ramen.
So, same pattern here. I got 2 bowls. One of them is the same creamy miso ramen, and the other, a lighter ramen with shrimp oil. Library voice commentary now with the creamy miso ramen.
So I've got their famous miso ramen in front of me right now. I'm gonna have some of the soup. Nice and smoky, very thick and creamy. There's a milkiness to it, and because you got the fish powder in the corner there, it gives a little punchiness to the broth overall. Yeah, as you can see here, they use flat noodles. They actually have a ton of noodles in here and also a ton of onions. It seems like in Tsukuba, onions are a big theme. And here, since it's miso ramen, they're stir-fried, some of them are a little bit burnt, and that's what provides that nice smokiness, I guess, to the broth.
Just finished up my bowl at Meya Aoi, and I'm in a beautiful park here. I got 2 dishes there, 2 ramen, and the first one was that thick and rich miso ramen. It was very thick and creamy, and that fish powder on the side gave it a little bit of a fish accent, which is kind of unique for miso ramen. The thick and creamy white miso flavor kind of reminded me of Hanada in Ikebukuro. Great bowl of miso ramen, definitely the heaviest of the ones I've had today. But I think the shining star at this ramen shop was the other ramen that I ordered, which was a chicken-based light ramen in a shio broth that had just a little bit of shrimp oil. That shrimp oil was aromatic, just enough in the broth to make it kind of pop. And that actually, I think, was the better bowl of the 2. Now, a lot of people, the masses, they're gonna go in and get that heavy miso ramen, which was excellent. But I think I preferred the more refined ramen as opposed to the miso ramen. That was really a pleasant surprise. As you might be able to tell right now, I'm in a little bit of a food coma. I think I'm gonna have a little bit of a charge from coffee and then get back to it. I don't think I'll have time to visit 5 ramen shops, but I am gonna squeeze in a 4th one, and I've gotta wait until they open at 7:30 again. I'm now taking a little bit of a break before moving on to ramen shop number 4. This is my first, let's say, ramen trip since everything happened, and it is nice just to get outside of the city. Tsukuba is pretty flat. It's quite planned of a city. There's not a whole lot going on, but that's also nice. I think that makes me focused on ramen. All right, so I've taken a little break, maybe have my second wind or fourth wind, I should say, as I'm visiting the fourth ramen shop of the day. Very dramatic as I'm crossing this bridge right now from Tsukuba Station to the next ramen shop and final ramen shop, which is called Ore no Ikiru Michi. I don't know too much about this ramen shop, but it does look to be heavy, kind of gyro style. That means a lot of garlic, very fatty and thick, firm noodles. So in a way, maybe saving the heaviest for last. Okay, I have arrived at the final and fourth ramen shop, Ore no Ikiru Michi. And it looks like there's a party inside. The music is pretty loud. Not sure how much I can describe the ramen, but heading in right now. So I'm seated outside right now, and I'm very happy to report that this shop is strictly practicing social distancing. That's why I'm waiting outside. There are plenty of seats in the place, but they're making sure that there is a lot of space between each of the customers. Now this is Ibaraki, it's Tsukuba. These places are not nearly as crowded as Tokyo ramen shops, but it's just nice to see that they're taking this very seriously, and I'm happy to wait. And I need more room to digest anyway.
So here I'm ordering their standard ramen, and I'm gonna add a raw egg topping too. This is what it looks like. Got a lot of ramen to eat.
So, starting with the soup here. Whew, that is a salty, salty soup. So it's kind of like gyro style, but at the same time, it's not as fatty as it can be, but I did ask for garlic and I'm gonna be smelling like a mess tomorrow, but that's okay. I think tomorrow I'm only gonna eat carrots and cabbage like a rabbit. And look at those beautiful gyro style noodles. These are very firm. And look at this dinosaur-sized slab of pork. This is insane. And if I got the big size, I would have gotten 3 of these. There's no way I can finish that right now. I just got the one. Still a hefty, hefty piece. Like the size of my head. Now I'm cracking in the raw egg that I got here, and I think that's gonna cut through some of the saltiness. All right, I'm about halfway through. Yeah, the raw egg kind of makes the broth a little bit more gooey, but it's nice. I now have the gargantuan task of ranking all 4 of the ramen restaurants. They were all amazing, just in their own different way. Now, if we start at the bottom and do number 4, this is just based on my personal preference, I would probably go with the one I just visited, which is Ore no Ikiru Michi. And I really liked it. It was, yeah, very heavy, of course, especially to end the day with. But gyro style ramen is something I've, appreciated more, I think, as I've gotten older, ironically, even though it's so heavy, it's so salty, very garlicky it can be too. And my God, that dinosaur slab piece of meat, you get a lot for what you're paying. And there's a delicious simplicity, I think, to it as well. But it was a little bit too familiar, and maybe that's why I'm putting it number 4. So for number 3, I'm going for Shichifukuken. I like that creamy chicken-rich broth, and they had some ingenious additions. I like the butter, the very unusually colored green butter there. And their Tantanmen was good, a little bit on the sweeter side, but definitely an interesting Tantanmen. Super creamy, and not creamy from sesame, but creamy from that rich chicken bones. Now, as to number 2, I'm gonna have to go with Meya Aoi. Maybe this also is because this was the 3rd bowl I had, and I didn't have much of a break in between those 3. It really was heavy, but it was a delicious bowl, that nice smokiness, and I did like the fact that they added a little bit of a fish element there with the fish powder alongside that creamy, rich broth. I do want to go back and try again the chicken-based ramen with the shrimp oil. That was really, really good. And there's nobody around, so I think for the final one, I am going to remove the mask here and let you know what I thought about number 1, which is obviously Niboshi Chuka Soba Ichikawa. And yeah, number 5 ranked ramen restaurant in Japan. As you'd expect, they have a fantastic bowl. This was more on the intense side and bitter side, but not too much. It wasn't like the thick, sludgy type of Niboshi that you can get. That being said, there was still a delicate mildness to it. I do like when my Niboshi is blended maybe with chicken and pork bones. You don't get that here. Again, it's pure Niboshi, but I can appreciate what they're trying to do. They're definitely pioneers in this space, and they've inspired a lot of shops to make similar bowls. Overall, I'm happy I finally made the pilgrimage there.
But I want to ask all of you, which ramen do you want to dive into the most? Let me know in the comments below. This is Frank from 5 AM Ramen signing out from Tsukuba, an amazing ramen city just north of Tokyo, and reminding you that Tokyo and Tsukuba are the only places where you can have amazing ramen at 5 AM. Actually, most of the places in Tsukuba are not open until 5 AM, so you need to go back to Tokyo for that.
Starting with the soup. Oh, that didn't work.